President commences his 3-day state visit in Australia. Fishing and naval communities requested to be cautious of rough seas and high winds. Tear gas and water cannons fired at protesting medical faculty students and parents in Colombo. Justice Minister says there are over 745,000 unsolved court cases in the country. Greece Yaka resurfaces in Battaramulla following cabinet reshuffle. Bringing you the news from home and across the globe. Good evening and welcome. This is News First Primetime News. I am Shahin Jurampati.
And I'm Mazra Hassan. Let's now take a look at the stories in detail. President Maithripala Sirisena officially commenced his 3-day state visit to Australia today.
President Maithripala Sirisena arrived in Canberra at 8 a.m. Australian time today, commencing a 3-day state visit on the invitation of Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull. He was received by the Australian Minister of Education, Senator Simon Birmingham. President Maithripala Sirisena visited the National Arboretum in Canberra and planted a mahogany sapling to mark his visit to Australia. President Sirisena also visited the Centre for Genomics, Metabolomics and Bioinformatics. The visit was not open to the media. The President also paid a visit to the Mount Majura solar farm. President Maithripala Sirisena also visited the Sri Lankan Buddhist temple in Canberra and met with the Sri Lankan community in Canberra at the Sri Lankan High Commission. The President was hosted to a dinner by a Sri Lankan community there. President Maithripala Sirisena is accompanied by Minister John Amarathunga, Deputy Ministers Harsha De Silva and Ajit P. Pereira, as well as MP Harshana Rajakaruna.
Tomorrow will be a historic day indeed for Sri Lanka and Australia, as President Maithripala Sirisena is set to hold talks with Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull at the Parliamentary House behind me. Stay with News First for more updates. I'm Masha Veerasinghe reporting from Canberra.
The Department of Meteorology says heavy showers and windy conditions are expected to enhance over the southwestern part of the country due to the activation of the southwest monsoon. The department advises those who engage in fishing to be cautious of the possible rise in wind speeds as well as heavy showers in the sea areas. The department in its forecast says the wind speeds in the sea areas of Mannar to Colombo via Galle, Hambantota and Potterville could increase to between 60 or 70 km per hour. The Navy earlier said 19 boats that set out to sea from Erawan in Batticaloa had gone missing. After rescue operations, all 19 boats were found by the Navy. Mudslides were reported from Kalutara, Galle and Ratnapura districts due to the heavy rain. The Disaster Management Centre meanwhile noted that 80 people from the Ratnapura district have been relocated to secure places due to flooding. Several lowlands in the Udugama and Baddegama areas in the Galle district were inundated as well. A rainfall of 75.2 millimeters was recorded from Trincomalee between 8:30 and 2:30 p.m. today. A fishing boat capsized near the Parai Island in Nila Valley in Trincomalee. 2 fishermen who went missing were later found. Vehicular movement on the Anuradhapura-Rottawava road in Trincomalee was hampered after a tree fell onto the road. A collapsed earth embankment caused heavy traffic on the Palawatta-Nelua road in Matugama. The Badulla town was covered in mist this afternoon.
Police fired water cannons and tear gas at a demonstration yet again today. This time it was on a demonstration organized by university students and their parents against private medical colleges. The demonstration by university students and their parents commenced from the Fort Railway Station. They marched towards the Presidential Secretariat. However, police obstructed their path at the Lotus Road roundabout. As the demonstrators attempted to break through the barricades and move ahead, police used high-pressure water cannons and tear gas to disperse the unruly crowd. A journalist was among those injured.
Members of the All Ceylon Peasants Federation demonstrated in Dambulla today, demanding authorities to provide them with the compensation which was promised for their damaged crops.
The demonstration commenced from Gamuda premises in Dambulla. They marched to the centre of the Dambulla town and engaged in their demonstration. They claimed that authorities promised compensation for damaged crops but have failed to fulfill that promise. Traffic along the Jaffna Kandy and Colombo Trincomalee main roads were disrupted due to the demonstrations.
You might have seen recently on Sirasa the type of vehicles being used by the ministers. They came in luxury vehicles worth over 30 or 40 million rupees in order to attend the cabinet reshuffle. This is just one vehicle. How many other vehicles do they use? If they can live in luxury and travel overseas and have fun, why can't they give the promised compensation to the farmers?
ගොඩාක් දුක් විඳපු ගම්මානයක් තමයි බුරාල ගම්මානේ වතුර නැතුව අපේ ගම්මානේ ඒ තරම්ම දුක් විඳපු ගම්මානයක් වතුර නැතුව
මෙම පාසල මම බාර ගන්නකොට කැලයක් හා සමානව තිබුණු පාසලක් තමයි මට ලැබුණේ බයිස්කල් මඬුවක් තුල තමයි අපේ ළමයි අධ්‍යාපන කටයුතු කරේ
අවුරුදු 30ක් 40ක් තිස්සේ අපි අඳුරේ සිටපු දීවරයක් මේට කලිනුත් අපි බලධාරීන්ට කියා තිබුණා ඡන්ද ගන්න විතරයි අපේ ගම්මාන වලට එන්නේ කිසිම බලධාරියෙක් අපේ අවශ්‍ය කරන වෙලාවට අපිට නෑ
ගැටලුව තමයි ගොඩාක්ම බලපාන්නේ ඒ කියන්නේ එයාලට එන්න දුෂ්කරතාවික ඒ කියන්නේ පාරව එන්න අමාරුයි මාස 3කට සැරයක් තමයි කිඩන් දෙන්නේ ත්‍රිපෝසා ඒ මොනවත් හම්බෙන්නේ අපිට
මේ පොරොන්දු වෙච්ච පරිදි මේ 1300ට පෝරමිටිය දෙන්න කියන්නේ වෙන මුකුත්ම නෑ අපි ඉල්ලන්නේ එච්චර අපිට අපි ඡන්දෙට මේ පරම්පරා තුනක් අපි දුක් විඳලා මේ ඡන්ද දීලා තිනවා හැම ඡන්දෙටම එන්න මැදියම තුර පොරොන්දු නොඑක් දේවල්
What is the current stance of the People's Movement for a Just Society and 48 other civil society organizations which pledged its support to the common candidate on the 8th of January 2015?
The government initially said the corrupt would be punished. Well, the government is not doing so well in their department. The government's objective is in fact to protect those who engage in fraud and corruption. It would be easier to deal with if they just said so. Tajuddin was killed. Shivaram, Pararaja Singham, Lasantha Vikramatunga and Pragiti Naligoda were all killed. There were many more who were killed. Many journalists fled the country. Investigations into these incidents are quite lackadaisical. Minister Ravi Karunanayake spoke to the BBC Sandeshya after shifting roles from Minister of Finance to Minister of Foreign Affairs.
ආසියාවේ හොඳම මුදල් අමාත්‍යවරයාට සම්මාන ලැබුණු ඔබතුමාව ඉවත් කරන්න විශේෂ බලපෑමක් තිබ්බ කියලා ඔබතුමා හිතනවද විශේෂ හේතුවක්
I don't believe there was any influence at all. There are those in every political party who are jealous of certain things. One or two people like that are enough to turn a ship around.
ඔබතුමා කනගාටුවෙන්ද මේ කතා කරන්නේ
I am not disappointed at all. I am very happy. I think this is a benefit of what I spoke of earlier. Both leaders of the country gave awards to the best finance minister. First it was an award from Asia. Next it was from Sri Lanka. The people need ministers who receive awards for serving the country. There is no point in getting awards from various other places. We shall see what happens. I will not use that word. The government believes that he will be more useful as Minister of Foreign Affairs. There is no issue. Would it not be good if he is also adjudged the best foreign minister of Asia? This is absolute nonsense. How can the Lotteries Board be attached to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs? The power to do so lies with the President. Yet, this decision is an absolute joke. People cannot operate corporations and lotteries boards as they please. The President has the power to allocate the respective subjects for the ministries. We cannot make an official comment as to how it happens. An official statement has not been made public in relation to how the subjects will be allocated. We cannot speak on this matter until an official announcement is made. There are two steps to follow. The President made it clear that personal changes will be made in the future. There will be changes to ministry secretaries and other officials. The President made these amendments because he needs to take the country forward with a renewed vigour. This is not some ad hoc reshuffle. Many believe that the cabinet reshuffle would lead to a clash between the UNP and the SLFP. Many believe that it would lead to an issue between the President and the Prime Minister. They thought some would not accept the new positions. As far as I am aware, there is no such thing. Everything was discussed in a just manner. Therefore, there will be no issue. Well, reports of a grease devil have emerged from the Battaramulla area following the much-awaited cabinet reshuffle. Over the years, reports about naked men greasing themselves up and roaming the streets emerged from various locations. These men were known as grease yakas or grease devils. One such person roaming the streets of Battaramulla in the nude was spotted on CCTV cameras installed at a nearby home. Police have been successful in apprehending this individual through investigations carried out based on CCTV evidence. The 29-year-old suspect, who had attempted to break into a house to steal items and at times sexually assault women, is a resident from Midenia. Police discovered gold jewellery, several receipts as well as female undergarments in the suspect's possession. The suspect was produced in court and thereafter remanded. CCTV cameras also captured the assault on the traffic OIC of Rangala Theldenia. He came under attack when he went to inquire into a three-wheeler that met with an accident. The driver of the three-wheeler who assaulted the traffic OIC was arrested for the obstruction of justice and remanded.
The draft amendment for the Civil Procedure Code was passed in Parliament without a vote. The draft was presented by Justice Minister Dr. Wijayadas Rajapaksa. During the presentation, the minister commented on the delay in legal procedures.
I am
tabling the number of cases that are being heard and are to be heard across courts in Sri Lanka as of the 31st of December 2016. There are 3,566 cases taken up at the Supreme Court. There were 4,837 cases at the Court of Appeal. There were 5,973 cases at the Civil Appeals Court. There were 3,758 cases at the Commercial High Court. There were 16,466 cases at the Criminal High Court. There were 171,896 cases at the District Courts. There were 539,392 cases filed at the Magistrates Court. As of the 31st of December 2016, a total of 745,888 cases have been filed. The amendment mentioned in this draft bill will affect all the cases filed in civil courts across the country. 0.5% of the cases are filed at the Commercial High Court. These amendments will also have an effect on those cases. The case filed against former parliamentarian Tiran Alas over the alleged charges of misappropriation of state funds of the Treasury was taken up before the Colombo High Court yesterday. 7 indictments have been filed against Tiran Alas, including the breach of trust and misusing 123 million rupees granted by the Treasury to construct houses for the people affected from the tsunami and for the people in the north and east who were affected by the war. Attorneys at law representing the defendant revealed before court that the Police Special Investigations Unit has noted that the original copies of the documents based on which the indictments were filed are not available. The attorneys at law requested the court for permission to inspect the first copies and the computers used to prepare evidences in filing indictments. The attorney at law representing the defendant said that the original copies of the evidences used to prove the charges levelled against the defendant were requested on an earlier occasion as well, when statements were being recorded from his client at the Police Special Investigations Unit. However, the Police Special Investigations Unit had informed that only copies of the said evidences are available. The attorneys at law further informed court that police have also been notified in this regard. Representing the Attorney General, Senior Solicitor General Yasantha Kodagoda informed court that if the defendant needs, an opportunity can be granted for the defendant to inspect the documents submitted to court as evidences. The case will be taken up before court once again on the 21st of July.
The airport anti-vice squad seized 4 kilograms of contraband that was to be smuggled into the country. The contraband, valued at 40 million rupees, was seized from a married couple that arrived from Pakistan.
There was a time when pigeons were used to deliver messages across countries in the absence of faster means of communication. But in the contemporary times, the same bird is being used for criminal purposes. In Kuwait, a homing pigeon was caught transporting drugs by custom officials. Around 178 pills were found wrapped around the bird that reportedly came from Iraq. A homing pigeon was intercepted by police at a prison near San Jose, Costa Rica back in 2015. On inspection, the bird was found to contain 14 grams of cocaine and the same amount of marijuana. Authorities suspect the bird was looked after and fed by an inmate in the medium security wing of La Reforma prison, Costa Rica's biggest penitentiary. I imported pigeons from Germany around 12 years ago. They were held for around 3 weeks. 2 flew away during that time. After a month, I got a call from the seller asking me if I released the birds in Frankfurt. I said no and told him that they left Sri Lanka around a week ago. He told me that the 2 pigeons had returned to Germany. The air travel shortest distance between Germany and Sri Lanka is 7,961 kilometers. If a homing pigeon can travel so far, it will be very easy for one to travel from India to Sri Lanka, which is only about 50 kilometers apart. At a time when smugglers are adopting new methods of transporting their product, shouldn't there be more vigilance on this subject?
Chief Opposition Whip and leader of the JVP Anura Kumar Dissanayake raised questions in Parliament today regarding national unity and the law being enacted on those who cause disharmony.
There were extremist and racist ideologies rising up in the country. However, we cannot see the government assessing this situation properly and providing a solution to these issues. The government has created several bodies to ensure law and order in the country. If those bodies do not act to prevent and stop these incidents, you cannot prevent the people of those communities coming forward to prevent them. This is a problem with regard to the weakness in enacting the law. The police is responsible for enacting the law. There cannot be new remedies to these problems. The duty of the police needs to be enacted as per the requirements of the government and the public according to the proper framework. The relevant officers have been reminded of this point sternly. The law will be enacted on hate speech and those who carry out violence or attempt to engage in violence.
හෝ කිරීමට තැත් කරන අයවලුන්ට නීතිය පැහැදිලි ලෙසම ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනවා. අතිගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා
On the 21st of March 2017, His Excellency the President announced that the forest area in the north of the Vilpattu Reserve will also be named a reserve. On the 16th of May 2017, an independent committee has been appointed to look into the issues in the area. They are to hand over a report in 1 month regarding the matter.
ඒ පිළිබඳ වාර්තාවක් මාසයක් ඇතුළත ලබා දෙන්නයි කියලා.
මේ ජාතිවාදී අන්දමේ ක්‍රියාදාමයන් කීපයක් සිදුවන බැවින් මේ
Since there are many racial issues that have cropped up, we as political parties representing the people of the north and east have problems regarding the decisions that have been taken with regard to reserves, heritage sites and places of archaeological value. I propose that a parliamentary select committee be appointed. Let's discuss the matter broadly and provide a lasting solution.
They
say that 430 archaeological sites have been destroyed. That has not happened. They have identified 430 places of archaeological importance.
Many wives, mothers and daughters go abroad as domesticates with dreams of building a better future for their families. Yet there are many who find their hopes shattered when they reach a foreign land. A group of women who were held overseas returned to the island today.
These are the main issues faced by the women who go to Kuwait as domestic aids. 120 such women arrived in the country today and claimed that they were not given the wages that were promised to them, and thereafter they were subject to harassment. 52 women from this group arrived in the morning and the other 68 reached the country this evening. They were accommodated at a holding centre attached to the Sri Lankan mission in Kuwait and were flown to the country through the Sri Lankan embassy in Kuwait.
කුවේට් එකේ තියෙන හරියට අපිට පොරොන්දු වෙච්ච පඩිය දෙන්නේ නැතුව දෙනවා කිව්ව හැමදේම පොරොන්දු වෙච්ච හැමදේම කිසිම දෙයක් ලැබුණ නැති නිසා අපි එළියේ හිටියේ අපි අවුරුදු 7ක් හිටියේ එන්න විදිහක් නැතුව අපි ආව ඒජන්සියෙන්වත් අපි ගැන හෙව්වේ නැහැ ගහලා කුටි ගහලා අතපය කැඩිලා ඉන්න අය ගොඩාක් ඉන්නවා කුවේට් එකේ දැනට ගහනවා කණ්ඩ බොණ්ඩ දෙන්නේ නැතුව ඊට පස්සේ අවුරුදු 2 මාස 7ක් ඉඳලා තමයි එළියට ආවේ. ඊටතම අපිට ඒ ගෙවල් වලින් පඩි එල්ලුවම ගැහුවා බැන්නා අපිට කරදර වලින් නම් ඉඳලා තිබි උඩරම කරදර වින්ද අපි. මම ඉවසගෙන හිටියා ඉන්න බෑ ඊට බැරිම දනකෝ වැඩ කරන්න බෑ නම් බෙල්ල කපලා විශ්බාලයකට දානවා කියලා ඊට පස්සේ ආවා. ඒගොල්ලන් ඇදලා අර ගන්නවයි ගහනවයි ඒගොල්ලන් කරන එක ඉතින් කාටවත් දන්නේ නැහැ.
The Foreign Employment Bureau reported that another 50 women remain at the holding centre. Another 91 women are being held at a detention centre run by the Kuwait Ministry of Labour. The Foreign Employment Bureau says it will take expedited measures to bring them back to the country.
In sports news, athlete Ashmika Herat's coach alleges that official negligence was the cause for Sri Lanka to lose hope of a gold medal at the second Asian Youth Athletics Championship in Thailand.
Ashmika Herat from the Kolyapike Central College was denied the opportunity of taking part in the girls' 2,000 meters steeplechase event at the second Asian Youth Athletic Championships. According to the rules of the games, an athlete cannot take part in more than one event above the 200-meter track event. However, the Sri Lankan selection committee had included her into both the girls' 3,000 meters and 2,000 meters steeplechase events. The Asian Athletics Association informed the Sri Lankan body in writing in March relating to this. I put the blame on the Sri Lanka Athletics Association, the selection committee and its chairman for overlooking one important rule in the games. They have done the selection process ignoring the game rules. The organizers of the Asian Youth Athletics Championships had sent all the documents including the rules and regulations to the Sri Lanka Athletics Association in March. There was no clear indication in the documents that were sent. She was not underqualified to take part in both events. The technical committee should have taken the final decisions. I cannot take the whole blame. Ashmika Herat clocked a time of 6 minutes 59 seconds to be selected for the Asian Youth Athletics Championship in Thailand. However, the North Korean athlete who won gold in the 2,000 meters steeplechase event clocked a time of 7 minutes 2 seconds. Who should be responsible for taking away Ashmika Herat's opportunity to win gold in the 2,000 meter steeplechase event at the Asian Youth Athletics Championship? I need to inquire from the Sri Lanka Athletics Association as to why they did such a thing. The team will reach the island tonight and we will look into this after the manager's report is presented. We must ask whether this was raised at the technical committee meeting and why such injustice was caused. It is best to inquire this from the Sri Lanka Athletics Association.
And that is a wrap of News First Primetime News Tonight. Thank you very much for watching. I am Shahin Jarangpati.
And I'm Azra Hassan. Take care and good night.